This is your time to get into your genius and your full power. And most importantly, get yourself so rooted in the divine that then you're so clear on infinite possibility. What's up, everyone? Welcome to Own Your Throne. Come on in. Let's say hello in the chat. Let's get this party started. It is so great seeing you beauties here. Let me know where you are zooming in from. I am zooming in from the English countryside. And you know how it is when you're traveling and you're like in an Airbnb and the spot where the lighting is good is not where the plug is not where the furniture looks good. So I'm trying out the whole blurry thing. Is that like, is it blurring my face and the background or just the background? Can you see me okay? You're good? All right. Well, then we have just reached a technological milestone here at Divine Living that I actually was able to follow the instructions my beautiful team sent to me. So come on in. This is just going to be such an extraordinary power hour of women like us knowing exactly who we are, taking everything that's not working in our life, transforming it, and getting ourselves to a place where we're like, yes, this is me, this is my calling, this is what I'm here for, all the good things. All right, so let's kick this off and get this going in the way that we should. So first of all, hello everyone. For those of you who are new here, my name is Gina DeVee. I am the founder of Divine Living and the author of The Audacity to Be Queen, the unapologetic art of dreaming big and manifesting your most fabulous life. If you have not yet gotten my book, I'll invite you to do so. You can, my team will drop a link in the comments. You can get it at divineliving.com/book. And it really is the manual for women like us who are absolutely called to experience a big life, a life filled with contribution, getting out of all of the restriction, the fear, the stuff that's not working, particularly the places from the pandemic that had us on pause, and getting us vibrantly, not just in the future, but into the life that we are meant to live. So over the course of these next 3 days, we are going to dive so deep into all things feminine, spiritual, powerful, and even a little bit practical that just has your whole life make sense. Wouldn't that be great, just to like not be stuck in the past, annoyed with the present, and actually excited about the future? Because that is what the promise is of these 3 days that we're going to be spending together. So thank you so much for being here. I know there's a lot of places where you could be spending your time, and I am beyond honored that the message of being feminine, being queen, and owning the throne in every area of your life is interesting and appealing to you. Because I don't know about you, but I was done. I was done with life as we knew it. I was like, there wasn't another launch that I was going to tinker in. There wasn't another Facebook ad I was going to buy. I mean, I had gotten down to either I'm going to be a transformational leader in the world, or I'm going to move to Cyprus and wait tables. Because like, I just couldn't keep going through the motions. Anyone else? Like, could you just, I couldn't keep doing it the same way. I couldn't keep, I had no more F's to give, and I had no more try in me. Like something had to break free. And I didn't see what it was for a really long time. And I've shared a lot of that publicly. Today is not that podcast, by the way. So you can go and listen to some other podcasts and hear about my living in the world in between worlds. But I wanted to say this today to start out for anyone who is currently deflated, disappointed, doesn't have the money flowing the way you want it to, just doesn't feel that vibrancy, or has been doing something that's kind of fine and great, but you're just like, I've done this, and you're looking for something new and fresh. That's what this journey is meant to be on. I've been doing this work for 20 years. I have a master's degree in clinical psychology. I've been a transformational coach and worked with women in over 100 countries. And I'm right here on the journey with you, because the last year and a half, you know, life as I knew it got shut down. And it got shut down in a combination of by personal choice and kicking and screaming. I had reached the end of an era. I had reached the end, and I'm a Capricorn and I'm Sicilian. So reaching the end of the era in my career is like, that's my don't mess with me area. Other stuff, I'm like, my husband's the easiest part of my life, travel, health, lifestyle. I'm good with all that stuff. But when it comes to like career, identity, money, like ego out the wazoo, like in every, like that's my place. And life for me had gotten good, but not great. I had been doing what I was doing for a while. I could do it. I didn't hate it, but I had lost the passion. And for me, that came in the form of my career. For some of you, it might be in the form of relationship. I think I literally have 7 friends getting divorced right now. Like, so many women have waken up and said, what am I doing with my life, in all different ways? From resigning in corporate jobs to shaking up businesses, shutting businesses down, ending long-term relationships. Like, on a certain level, bravo to women like us who are like, I'm not just going to be same old anymore. And on another level, we've been on our knees, and there's been some version of Jesus, take the wheel, or Jesus, where the hell are you? Or what's happening with my life? Am I a has-been? Am I a fax machine? Am I just no longer relevant? Like, what is going on? And when you ask those questions enough time from a real prayerful place, the answers start to come from the background into the forefront, and they start to become clear. And the breakthroughs, I promise you, are beyond available. And that's what I'm dedicating these 3 days to, for you to understand anything of where you've come from, what your stuck places is, what your story and your patterns are. And today we're going to be like really owning the past so that you can complete it. I don't know about you, but I'm going to help you speed up that healing process. I'm going to help you speed up that processing. Okay. I was talking to a girlfriend the other day, and she's like, yeah, I really need to do some healing on this relationship thing. I mean, honey, you've been doing that 15 years. It's just time for you to like move forward. And can we start like activating all things queenhood to go and get it? You know what you need to do to get into a relationship at this point. She's like, oh, okay. But we're not going to focus on that stuff. Today we are. Okay, and this is your like last wind up. So whatever relationship you have with the old version of yourself, we're gonna be there for her. You're gonna give her a big hug, and then you are gonna learn from her and move on. And tomorrow, we're gonna get you so grounded in the present moment that you're not leaking out energy by living in the past or the future, because that's not where your power is. And we're going to get you so grounded in the present so that you are literally creating the future of your dreams and your desires, so that you are owning your throne in every area of your life. And you're doing life and business in a much different way. You're creating money and wealth in a different way. You're drawing in love and opportunities and a beautiful life to you, so that you're not bored and you're not going through the motions and you're not doing the same old stuff where you're like, why am I still doing that? Or why am I still believing that? This is your time to get into your genius and your full power. And most importantly, get yourself so rooted in the divine that then you're so clear on infinite possibility that's there for you. The breakthroughs are there for you. The abundance is there for you. The money is there for you. The opportunities, the clarity, the confidence, the joy of life, the ability to travel, spend more time with your kids, your family, whoever you care about. That's what we're doing from the feminine plane. We're saying no, thank you to overworking. We're saying I'm done with under-earning. Can I get any amens in the chat? Or was it just the poor school teacher's kid from Detroit who was a broke, struggling psychotherapist that was like, we are done with hustle and grind culture. I do not wear it as a badge of honor that I'm going to outwork you. That'll never happen. Trust. It's not, the only thing I'm crushing are tomatoes, ladies. That's I'm cooking and that's it. Like this is about letting all of the feminine power and all of the spiritual ways that we have access to lead the way so that you are experiencing miracles in the divine all over the place, every step of the way. That's what comes from owning your throne. When you start to see miracles, like I was at a different Airbnb last week, and I went to go do whatever Zoom call, don't even remember. And I'm in the English countryside. I know I'm an American speaking right now. I'm in the English countryside. And this, right when I'm about to do my Zoom call, I'm talking 3 minutes before, this very well-meaning man with a ladder and like a spatula and some cement or whatever he like things that were gonna look noisy and distracting. And so he puts the ladder up right in front of like my window where I'm getting my natural light in. You know, like how much you have to like shimmy and shake this stuff. And I was like, oh, for the love of God. And he's like, I just need to do a little scraping and a spackling, whatever he was doing. I was like, it's not gonna bother you, is it? And I was like, oh, I'm the world's most sensitive to sound, noise, and movement person ever. I'm just doing a download here. And I'm like, but the English, they're so polite. Like, how can I be the American? They're like, dude, you got to come back tomorrow. So I'm like, let's see here. So I said, against my truth, to dim my light, I said, it's okay. I'll work through it. Isn't that what we do, right? We're like, we don't speak our truth. We don't want to inconvenience someone else. We like need to make it okay for another white man to do his spackling at your Zoom call time. Like, I'll figure out what I'm doing with these women. And I just said a prayer and I said, God, help me focus, because you know that I don't do well with distraction. I really want to serve these women. 5 minutes in, promise you, starts to rain. See him with his ladder and his spackle and his tools, and like off he goes. This is what happens when you own your throne. God doesn't let you settle, even when you're willing to settle on your own. And this is what I'm experiencing left, right, and center, up and down and all around, because I've done what I'm going to be walking you through over these next 3 days. So I'm telling you, stay here for the full 3 days. It grows, it builds. You're not going to be the same woman on day 3 as you are even right now. We're going to help remember what actually is possible and what's available to you. We're going to get you going to source, not in this sort of massive action or hustle situation. There's nowhere, and for anybody who has any religious sensitivity, I'm going to try to be sensitive about it. I do speak a lot from the Bible because it is my book. I promise you it's not in any traditional, rigid kind of way. I make fun of the dead old white men also. We're going to like relate it to your life. We're going to use scriptures in a way that's going to be really alive to you. So I promise you, you're going to be in the right spot. Just don't think that when I like, I'm not going to John 3:16 you either. I'm just going to like mention certain scriptures that I think are really helpful for modern day women not overworking themselves. Nowhere in the Bible does it say, or any other spiritual text from what I've read, if you work really, really, really hard all the time and do a bunch of shit you don't like, then you're going to be successful. Last I read, it was seek first the kingdom of heaven, and then all these things will be added unto you. My yoke is easy and my burden is light. Delight yourself in the Lord, and he will give you the desires of your heart. There's no funnel tweaking here. There's no tinkering. There's no going through Excel spreadsheets and letting the life get sucked out of you. So I want to take you back to where this all started. And it is childhood. So we're gonna spend 1 hour on this. We're gonna wrap this up. You and your childhood. Sorry to all the therapists that you've hired out there, because they're about to get completed with. You're not gonna need it after this. And I'm a former psychotherapist. I have great reverence. There's a time and a place for that, and there's a time and place to move on. I want you to know who you are and where you came from. And that's what we start with today. So we're gonna start with a prayer, and then we'll dive into the content. Ah, dear God, thank you. Thank you for these amazing, gorgeous, incredible humans who you've created, who you have blessed us all with the honor of being in the same vortex at the same time here today. And we open ourselves up to you, to your unlimited nature, to your power, to seeing things not as they are, but as they could be and as they are meant to be with you. We know that we all have programming from childhood that has us fear-based, limited in our thinking, out of our miraculous powers that we could have if we were connected with you. So today we transplant what we've been taught, what we've been told, who we've said we are and who we are not, with the vision that you have for our life instead. And we pray all of this believing, amen. All right, Queen. So we all, to the degree that we have any limited, fear-based frustration, life not going in the way that we want it to go in, is all and only due to our own thinking. It's our conditioning. It's not your fault. Someone else told you the things in the first place. Someone else told you making money is hard. Someone else told you you can't trust men. Someone else told you that relationships are about sacrifice. Someone else told you that it's going to take a really, really long time for you to live in your dream home, whatever it is. Though it wasn't fair, they were probably told the same things. Most of them, there's a few scoundrels out there, but most of them were even really well-meaning when they told you these things, because they thought they were taking care of you. They thought that they were wisening you up to the ways of life. Unless they were interpreted from a mystical perspective, even if they were from the Bible or other spiritual texts. If you interpreted yourself as less than, unworthy, not capable, needing to wait until you might have been miraculously chosen or blessed, then it wasn't, those words were not delivered with the intention of the scriptures. And it's the truth that will set you free. And I think it's safe to say that no matter what form of manifestations we're all going for in life, we all desire freedom. The freedom to create the lives we desire, freedom to live the way we want to live, freedom to travel where we want to travel, in the way that we want to travel, work in the way that we want to work, if we even want to work. There's a level of freedom that modern day women don't have because of what people told us. Except for that today is not that day. I always say I spent so many years of my life looking outside of me, looking at resenting the people that didn't treat me well, and feeling hurt and victimized by the people that didn't include me, and feeling less than because other people had X, Y, and Z that I had made up about them. And all of that came from my conditioning, my programming, probably the same as you. And so I just want you to anchor into one area, one wound, just so you can like track with me. If you have 978, just pick one of them right now. One that's like really meaningful to you. If it's typically it's either you're in the school of money, the school of health, or the school of love. For my 20 years of experience, you tend to fall in one of those areas. But if there's a different word that resonates with you, if you want to drop it in the chat, you're welcome to. It was like, what's the thing, topic, subject, issue that just you're bored with? Is it the financial struggle? Is it the relationship dynamic? Is it the health piece? Is it the confidence piece? Is it the not knowing who you are? And if you want to like just kind of leave it on the altar. Consider that the chat box right now. Just be like, here, God, take this one from me. I'm going to work with this one. We are a safe community here. You are not alone. There's anything you could write in the chat that anyone else isn't thinking for themselves as well. All right, so we got health, career. Let's see what we got here. Let's speak, ladies. Financial and business, money, money, money. All right, school of money. It's exhausting, right? Financial. Oh, we got a lot of school of money people here. Any relationship people in the house, or is it all people? Career, love. Okay, at least Grace is in love. All right, Sabrina. All right, we got a couple of love here. Love, life purpose. Yep. And doesn't it just feel good to get it out? Just go drop it in. You are not alone. You are not. Oh, for God's sakes, that Mary Russell, that you're unlikable. If we could all, where is she? I'm going to change my view. I love this woman so much, and she knows it. Where is she? Mary look how pretty you look today, Mary. Come on and say hi, Mary. Look at that. You grew your hair out. I haven't seen you.
Gina.
How are you?
I'm doing okay. Now that I found something to stop the hair loss and actually grow some more back, it's nice.
You look great, Mary. I'm really, really happy you're here. And
Me too.
you're more than likable, but it's not enough for me to be in love with you. We're going to get you in love with yourself. Oh, look at all that. Look, Bobby's here. Tracy's here. I should have put it on I should have put my glasses on sooner. I think that's what I should have done. I didn't see all you rock stars here. This is so exciting. All right. Awesome. Awesome. All right. Well, I'm gonna go back to my download, but I will resume shortly. All right. Well, Mary, you're more than likable. All right. Hey, okay. And when you get that whatever was told to you, the most broken place in your life, for sure, hands down, gets to be the strongest area. And I never really got it because I couldn't imagine it. And yet it makes so much sense. And the weak will become strong. It's actually scriptural. It's actually scriptural. And so what other people did or didn't do, and what they said or didn't say, that's on them. But the darkest place in a woman's life is when she self-abandons. And the way that we self-abandon is we carry out those words in our own vibration. We carry out unlikable. We carry out not good enough. We carry out it'll never happen for me. We carry out I'll never find the love of my life. Because we keep telling ourselves those things. That I can't have it, other people can. And what I want you to do right now, in terms of owning your past, is I want you to place a declaration over your life. I want you to activate right now. You know what? It's not true. And it might be a little difficult to get to the place where you can really own it. I'm going to say something else. If you're honest with yourself, not so much. Because you're here because you know that you're meant for more. You're here because there's some inkling inside of you that even if you like, there's so much noise about it's not possible. There's this much, there's your mustard seed amount of like, but I know it is. And I know I can do that. I know I can be that. I know I can have that. I know I can experience that. And what we need to do is transform this into this and this into this. Without getting too into it, there's some fun stories in the Old Testament about giants and grasshoppers. And to paraphrase, it says that there were giants in the land that saw us like grasshoppers. And if you look at it metaphorically, you look at those things that feel out of reach, those problems that feel bigger than life, those things that you think will never be resolved. They're these giants. And when you let something or some issue or some past story be a giant that overpowers you, your thinking, your quality of life, then it has the power. And it sees you like the grasshopper. And you are not a grasshopper. You are a queen. And for you to start to own who you are and your self-worth and get so confident, not even in your own abilities, but in spiritual truth, in universal law, that if you're here, that you're here for a reason, you have a purpose, you are all powerful. You can turn those giants into the grasshopper, and you can turn yourself into the giant. And that's what this process of owning your throne really does. When you start to take a look at it and like wake up, like I want to lovingly shake us all and be like, what, you think no one's going to buy from you? How many times do I have to hear that story? I get it. I had the same one. My poor coach, I said the same things to her. You know how bored these coaches and therapists are with your stories? You're like, oh, there she is again. Doesn't think anyone's going to buy from her. There she is again. There goes the mother story. There she is again. She's talking about the same guy that she thinks is going to leave his wife for her. Like, I mean, like people are bored, and so are you. And like, we can just lovingly shake ourselves and start to make what our desires are what we speak out loud. It's been so politically incorrect for women like us to be like, yeah, this is what I'm going for. This is who I am. This is like, I'm amazing. And not in the conceited, cocky way. That's repellent also. Conceit and cockiness is just two sides of the same coin about inferiority and defeat. Anyone that's like blowing themselves up, you could feel the insecurity. And then when someone just, yep, this is who I am and this is what I do, doesn't even need to say it. Just is it. Is being it. And so if you're looking for a roadmap on where your life is leading you, you can take a little look into the past today. And you can go and start to see what were some of the biggest themes from your childhood that you took away, and maybe write down 3 to 5 of them. You just like, if your childhood could be like a movie title, what would it be? What beliefs did you get? What would kind of sum up the experience? I'd bet there'd be a lot of paradoxes. One of mine is, let's see, and I'm just making this up right now because that's how the downloads come. One of my, let's see, if I had to entitle my childhood something, it would be like, you can be anything you want and you can't do that. Like, I was like my parents were like, you can, like, they were so well-meaning, right? There's school teachers that are like, brought me to Sunday school and piano lessons. Like, Gina, you can be anything you want. And then every other message, well, you can't do that. You can't make that much. You can't say that. You can't. There's a paradox. And when you like get into it, it's like, that's too expensive. And with God, all things are possible. How do you live with that's too expensive and be brought to church and be taught to memorize all things are possible? Right? Like, well, the little girl, can you imagine the 4-year-old in you? The 6-year-old, you just got to give her a lot of love right now because she's like, huh? And that's how we've gone through life, right? Like, we've grown into these adults. And so over time, our power has gotten diminished. Over time, we've been made long enough. We just like kind of keep it to ourselves. Over time, we've silenced our own voice, like not made it okay for us to be who we really are. And I want you to start to take those pieces that other people trampled on and that you then trampled on. And I want you to start to love them back to life. And I want you to get that your quirkiness is the most lovable thing about you. I want you to get that those big desires, not only are they possible, they're meant for you. I want you to shake out of any environment that you're in that other people's voices get to matter more than your own. And when you start to be there so much for you, you're going to see your contribution in the world, what you're meant to teach, what people need to hear from you. It's the way it was always intended to be. Life will never go well when you diminish your own voice, when you make yourself wrong, when you make yourself less than. And even if you do kind of make it to the mountaintop, the way that you got there, having to sacrifice so much of a part of you, it's like almost not worth it. In this process, what we're doing here in owning your throne is gently yet fiercely collecting the pieces of the truth of you and disregarding the rest. Disregarding the rest in other people's voices doesn't mean that you're more right and they're wrong. Doesn't mean that they're not meant to even be in your life. It just means that their voice isn't meant to be more powerful for you than your own voice. When you're owning your throne, you're comfortable in your own skin. Your own voice is enough for you, and you don't need the approval or the acceptance of other people. And you also don't necessarily need to go burn bridges and cut other people off. There's a real feminine power to the we. Masculinity is about I. It's either or. It's me or them. The feminine is about the we. It's just that this time you've got to include you and not just be there for everyone else, and not just sacrifice for everyone else, and not just hear everyone else, and not just put everyone else on the pedestal, and not just celebrate everyone else and let everyone else be visible. There's a way in which your needs count also. And when Jesus said, do unto others as you would do unto yourself, it doesn't just say do a bunch of stuff for others so that they're happy. It says, as you would do unto you, you matter too. And in the arc of what we do here, we really go and take a look at showing up for you and being there for you as you live the life of your dreams and the life in service that only you could do. So there's this way in which the story of Esther is the arc of each of our stories. I know some of you are well educated in this story at this point of being here in the Divine Living community, and others of you might be brand new. So for the sake of today, I'm going to share a bit of a story arc that helps you understand the royal road is not an ordinary one, and nobody is exempt. I was hanging out with a girlfriend the other day, and she's like, I just don't get it. She's happily married. Her kids are great. She's got more money than God. She's like fit like a yoga teacher, and she doesn't do any of this personal development stuff that you and I do, Gina. She's like, she just came out of the box this way. And I was like, well, I don't know her, but I know life, and life, no one's exempt. So I don't know what she's been through, but No one's exempt. So my friend like ran off and listened. She's like, she's got a podcast. I'm going to go listen to her podcast. And sure enough, she's like, okay, she's had cancer twice. She's gone through this, that, and like, there's like all this, like, no one's exempt. So if you're feeling like your story is the only one like it, there's some details that are unique to you. And I want you to know every woman here, myself included, we're all shedding the layers of the past. We're all learning to love ourselves so much more. And I can promise you, if you take it even further and you let yourself get great at receiving, you're going to be living a life in the way that God intended it for you. So the owning your throne is based on the ancient story of Queen Esther of Persia. And there was a very unlikely candidate to rise to a level of power. And I want you to find perhaps in your own life where you feel the most unlikely to be successful, to be lovable, to take center stage, to write your book, whatever the big dreams are. But I want you to know God created you and God sees you just the way he did Esther. So what happened was you're going to get the instant coffee Esther version right now. If you want to continue the journey with me, I'll take you on a deeper journey. But there was a king of Persia. He was the most powerful king in the land. He decided to get rid of his queen for a whole different story. And at the same time, going across the world a little bit, in Israel, there was a war going on. And historians say that the young girl named Esther had her parents, or not, she didn't have her parents. Her parents were killed in the war and she was orphaned. And people who'd lost the war in Israel were exiled into Persia, where they were treated like second-class citizens. So we see at the very start of her life, she's first orphaned, then she's exiled. She finds one living relative in Persia. His name is Mordecai. So she goes and she stays with Mordecai. So you see her finally, after all this heartache and all this hardship, going to be with Mordecai. At that exact moment, the king decides to go and round up all the young maidens of the land, put them in the palace harem for a year, where they were to be prepared with beauty treatments and special foods before they could even go to the king, so he could pick the next queen of Persia. So Esther has this great attitude all along the way. She doesn't take herself out of the game. She doesn't say, I'm a Jew, there's no way I'm going to get chosen. And she ends up going before the king, and out of what the historians say were about 2,500 women in the harem, the king, unbeknownst to him, chooses Esther. Right as Esther becomes queen, there's this law issued in the land to kill, destroy, and annihilate all the Jews. So Mordecai gets word to Esther, and he's like, Esther, you got to go to the king. You got to reveal who you are. You got to save us. And she's like, no, not me. And if you can see in your own life where you were probably orphaned, exiled, orphaned maybe symbolically or literally, exiled, finally, when you're in your comfort zone, taken out of your comfort zone, put in this place of preparation where you're then chosen, but you're like, no, I can't do this. I can't take it any further. And I got any self-saboteurs in the room where you go 90% of the way, and then when it gets to the last 10%, you're like, nope, not me. You don't want to hire me. You don't want to love me. You don't want to spend the rest of your life with me. You don't want to work with me. That was Esther. And Mordecai says, Esther, for such a time as this, you have been called into royalty to save your people. And she didn't get it. She didn't see herself. Maybe just like you're not seeing yourself. Maybe like I wasn't seeing myself. It's like, doesn't everyone know these stories? Why do I need to teach the metaphysics of the Bible? Like, doesn't everyone know this? This sounds boring to me. I'm not boring. I just thought everyone knew it. Like we just don't see ourselves in our own contribution. And then she wakes up and she gets it. And she's like, okay, I will go to the king. She's like, oh yeah, probably the reason I was orphaned, exiled, taken from Mordecai's place, put into the harem out of all these women, that I was the one chosen So she accepts this royal calling on her life. And she goes and she has a plan, and ultimately she goes to the king. She reveals who she is. She asks that her people would be saved. And ultimately the king does grant her wish. There's a few epic heroine journey, other pieces in there that I'll get into another time, but that's the gist of it. And the point is, we all are that ordinary orphan girl that has felt lost, abandoned, exiled, felt like we weren't included, didn't belong, just thought we'd hide out in our comfort zone, hidden in our only living relative's house. But God has a different plan for you. And we take a look at Esther's past, and we take a look at the way that she didn't seem like the likely candidate, and yet she was. She was not only called into royalty, she was called for a legendary purpose to save her people. And so have you. So when you don't let your past stop you, when you don't focus on it, when you don't take yourself out of the game, when you don't let yourself be stuck in it, then, and only then, do you get to actually be the queen of your life. And only from this place do you get to fulfill your calling. It's the opportunity for all of us. For such a time as this, we have all been brought through a pandemic. For such a time as this, it is time for feminine leadership in the world. For such a time as this, you have lived enough life to finally set yourself free. Would you stop working so hard and thinking that that's the answer? Would you stop staying hidden? Would you stop thinking that you're not enough or that someone else's voice matters more? Because that's not what God created you for. He created you to be the queen of your life. And when you get the elements of queenhood, it's only from, Esther could have only fulfilled her purpose from the place of queenhood. And I got it for me as well. I spent 15 years being a nuts and bolts business coach. And God was like, enough, Gina. I put you there in 2004 so you could handle your own money issues. And you did it, and you stayed too long. Like, it's like being in a relationship too long. It's like, it's time to move on. And I was like homecoming queen, like holding on to her crown, like, no, I don't want to graduate, mascara running down the face. Like, it was like gnarly me in January 2021, people. Like, it was like not a good scene. God was like, Gina, for such a time as this, you're meant for something different. It's time to graduate and move on. And I want to say that to each and every woman here, you are not here for any reason other than you too are meant to evolve higher, bigger, better, more of who you've been created to be. So if this is of interest to you, let me share with you a little bit of what God has been showing me. I have been guided to create a process for women like us to go through, where for 10 weeks, there's a 10-week course if you want to join us. And this is the Royal Roadmap, where if you want to check it out yourself, you can go to divineliving.com/own your throne, divineliving.com/own your throne. And in week 1, I'm going to show you what I did personally so that you can fall in love with your life and declare your non-negotiable desires. When we are living based on other people's rules, principles, value systems, the Western world logic, the way we're supposed to live, we're not living our full life. Week 2, I'm going to show you how to master the skill of self-permission and never doubt yourself again. I'm not going to walk home from a party and be like, why did I say that? No more doubting. No more doubting. This is like you knowing who you are and what you're up for. Week 3, I'm going to show you how to become untriggerable and eliminate self-sabotage. It's time for us to stop being the ones who take ourselves out of the game. We're not blaming it on anyone else anymore. It's us. Week 4, for such a time as this, what are you meant for? All my life purpose people, figuring out what your life is about right now. There you go. Week 5, get great at receiving and serving by making spirituality your superpower. It's the breathing in and the breathing out. It's for you to receive so much more than what you're currently experiencing. And you'll see that by definition, you're going to serve so much more as well. Week 6 is wake up to your truth by accessing your intuition. Who doesn't want to have just that crystal clear intuition where you're like, oh yeah, I'm being guided. Like, ooh, yes. Week 7, courage to communicate like a queen to yourself and others. Week 8, rewrite the hidden subconscious contracts that ruin your life. Week 9, strengthen your self-worth and live your unique purpose with confidence. And week 10, live your legendary life using the feminine art of manifesting. I'm going to take you deep into your past, your psyche, your background, and let it all be used for your epic present and future. I don't want you waiting one more minute to free yourself. This is not about being a victim anymore. This is about getting you into your power and declaring, and not from an angry masculine way, but from a glorious feminine, miraculous way. So if this is of interest to you, I have a 10-week course that is starting soon. And what is included in the course is, for 10 solid weeks, if you love this, you're going to get 2 hours of live call on Zoom each week with an actual training on these feminine subjects. So I do an hour of training and an hour of coaching, plus trust, this is so transformational. Anyone that was in the last class, you can type in the chat, like, getting to meet the other women from around the world is epic. There's a welcome packet that everyone in the class fills out where I study you. And as long as you're showing up and being visible, I'm going to know who you are and help you along the way. You're going to get a weekly workbook that's aligned with the week's theme to help you dive deeper into the content. You get a weekly prayer to enhance your spiritual journey, meaning they're recorded prayers that you can play over and over again. You get a weekly meditation as well to just be with the divine and yourself. So it's like all the feminine tools. And then you get access to the community of Queen via your own The Throne Facebook group. So if you would like to join me for this course, 10 weeks, it starts October 4th. Get in now because I have bonus sessions happening before then. The 10-week course is $997 for a pay in full, or I wanted to really make sure anybody who wanted to be on this journey, high vibe for 10 weeks, learning all of the feminine arts of spirituality, manifesting, wealth consciousness, living life like a queen, communicating like a queen, I have a stretched out payment plan for you that is a 12-month payment plan for $99 a month. So if you know this is for you, go ahead and choose one of those options. For those that want more of that plus an in-person experience, you can join me for the 3-day retreat in Santa Monica. So you'll get the whole 10-week course plus the 3-day retreat, which is November 9th through 11th. And then you can register there. And for those of you that are looking for a year-long mastermind, you can see there's going to be 3 retreats in Paris, Mexico, and Amelia Island, 2-hour calls for the entire year. You can see all of the things that are included in the mastermind, and that is the 12-month option. If you're not sure, you're just getting started, don't overthink this, please. Really get into the 10-week course. I have created this curriculum from a foundation of 20 years, but also a very, very intimate journey into my personal and professional life over the last 2 years to bring together what has created like so much abundance, so many breakthroughs, so much joy, literally me owning the throne in every area of my life. Not that I've arrived, I'm still working on it, but I've definitely gotten myself out of fear, inferiority, insecurity. What am I doing with my life? What am I doing with my career? Why is everyone else soaring and I'm not? So if you've got any of that stuff going on, come join me for the 10-week course. I literally had to go rework and take my own medicine. I reworked every step that I'm going to be teaching over these next 10 weeks. And I got to tell you, it works. And it didn't work because I did another launch, and it didn't work because I hustled, and it didn't work because I made 100 phone calls. I didn't do anything on the outside initially. I changed the inside. And it was changing the inside and changing my consciousness and changing my vibration and changing how I showed up for myself and how I spoke and how I valued myself and owned my past and all of my brokenness and being emotionally orphaned and exiled. And really, really getting, I have been given a life and I have been called to be queen. And that only from the position of queen can I fulfill my calling. That's what I've stepped into. And each and every one of us are meant to do it in our absolute own unique way. And so if you would love to be amongst other women who are not afraid to shine, not afraid to own their throne, figuring it out in the process, letting go of toxic relationships, moving across the world, quitting jobs that don't serve, like creating really incredible transformation in their life, then you come join us, because that's what it's here for. The first time I taught this, I taught it over the summer. Tears could well up in me right now. Like my heart is just, every single week, I couldn't wait to get in the Zoom room with all these women, right? Like for those of you that are dropping the chat, I don't have my glasses on right now, but for those of you that are there, were there, you know, it's like the depth that we went to, even in the virtual format. It was so rich. It was so real. It was so transformational. And I want more of it. And for those of you that do as well, then come join me. Go to divineliving.com/own your throne. I'm sure my team has the links in the chat. This is an opportunity for you to show up for you. This is an opportunity for you to rewrite the old conditioning. This is an opportunity for you to say, I'm done being small, playing small, being in the struggle, not letting the bigness of life in, watching everyone else do it on Instagram or television or wherever else. This is meant to be your time to shine. So I want you to show up for you. I want you to let everything inside of you come out into this very hurting world that needs exactly what you have to offer. And you can't do it doing the spiritual bypass. You've got to own that brokenness that you think is going to keep you from getting to where you're meant to be. You're going to own it. And the weak's going to become strong. The weakest area in your life will become the strongest. You will see. You will see it. I don't know that I have time for questions today. I'll do questions tomorrow. I promise I'll open it up. But anything else here that I can provide to you, you let me know. You will see actual transformation take place. What I saw women do in the span of 10 short weeks of getting rid of the mother story, of getting rid of abusive relationships, getting rid of small thinking, getting rid of under earning. I mean, money came in, relationships came in, the transformation exists. And it's just not doing it the old way anymore. It's doing it the feminine way. So if you'd like to come explore what the feminine mysteries are, and for those of you that have been on the journey with me a really long time, I know the Esther story is not new to you. I'll tell you what will be the way I'm approaching it. This is not Gina of 2004 or Gina of 2014. So come play, get back in the vortex if you've been doing your own thing for a while, because the band's getting back together, queens, that's for sure. And when women like us unite and look into each other's hearts and see us for the queens that we are, big things happen. Big things happen. All right, my loves, I hope that this has been uplifting to you. I hope that this is getting you seeing what else is possible for your life. I hope that you know how much you matter. And I hope that you know that this is just day one. So come on back tomorrow for day 2 and day 3, where we dive even deeper and let the transformation in. You'll see. And if you know that this is meant for you also, go ahead and get yourself registered, divineliving.com/own your throne. Mwah.